Welcome back to my workshop, dear friends. This is Jeannie from Metal Dollhouse Rescue. I am so glad that you came back tonight. Let's look at this project again and see what we can do tonight. Okay, let's see how lucky we can be at making these windows. Here's what I've got. I've got paper and I've got a picture on there. I've got the material I'm going to make the windows out of. I got some scissors, a box cutter. I've got some red pinstriping. I've got a photograph of an actual window. And I've got my tape measure. So let me tell you the steps I've gone through, and then we'll see how this goes. We will work on this together. The first thing I did, I've got Grandma here watching me. I'm just going to move her to the side. The first thing I did is I measured the actual opening of these windows, and I wanted to know precisely how big they are. So I got my tape measure out. They're 4 1/4 wide, and the opening is 3.25, 3 1/4 tall. Both of them. Then I had saved a picture of an actual window from an eBay listing. This window that I printed from an actual picture on eBay will show me exactly how that is supposed to lay out. And so from that, I drew a grid of those windows, those bars and so on, to the right size, and I drew it on this paper. And I have taped my material on there. I know you probably can't see it, but see, that material's on there. So I'm going to lay out the grid on that. But this material that I'm using, this came from clear material that I bought to make shrinky dinks out of. So I had it in my craft cupboard. This was 8.5 by 11, and I cut it down into 2 windows of the right size, 3 1/4 times 4 1/4 the long way, and I added an extra 1/4 of an inch all the way around because these windows are attached inside the house or the room or the building. There's 2 little tabs up here that I think need to bend down, and then I'll have to have a slot or a hole in my new window to hang on there. The windows hang on the inside of the house. So I added an extra 1/4 inch all the way around, and I used my paper cutter, a paper cutter, with a handle to make that nice sharp cuts. But you could use scissors. I don't think it'd be critical if it wasn't a nice sharp clean cut. But I did use a paper cutter on that since I had one handy. And then I've taped it on here, and now I'm going to tape the grid using my pinstripe. Now, I got this idea from somebody in our Facebook group. Sue and her husband did this on some windows that they were missing. Now, they used white because the windows on the house they were making had white boards or trim on them, and this one calls for red. Per my picture that I got from eBay, it's got to have the red stripes. This pinstripe I got is 1/4 inch wide, and here I've cut a smaller section off of the big roll just to make it easier to handle. It is adhesive on the back, so I can pull that back off, and I'll just lay it down there on the grid. I'm going to do probably the long ones first, and then the short ones, and then go around the edge. So I'm going to let you watch me as I do that. I will be using my box cutters to cut off at each edge. And let's just see how this goes. Well, friends, there it is. If that looked easy to do, it's because it was. That whole process real time took maybe 5 minutes, and that window just looks perfect, and it should be the right size. Let's take it off of there and take a look and see how we did. That looks really good. Really, really good. Let's spin it around and see how they work on the other side. Very, very nice. Great, just like the one on eBay. I am so excited. Now, I want to tell you that I've actually at this point made 8 of these, and I've done some process improvement along the way. So I'm going to give you an update. First of all, my initial thought was to cut holes here in the top to align with the tabs on the inside. But I found it was very hard to cut those holes and make that neat. I think they look great on the outside. They're a lot easier to mount. If for some reason you ever wanted to take them off, they're easy to remove. That way if you wanted to clean or rearrange or do something from the side, you could. So I think I'll just mount them on the outside. Now in order to do that, I have added those little magnets here to the corner. And I actually dabbed a little bit of white paint on those magnets. It's hard to see, but I tried to put a little white paint. It didn't want to stick very good, but a little white paint. Then I put a little dot of glue on there, and then I covered that. I put the magnet on there, and then I covered it with a little piece of clear packing tape, a little tiny strip. I'm sure you can't see it, but that holds that magnet on there, especially until the glue gets good and dry. So when you attach it to the wall, that the magnet doesn't stick when you try to take the window off or anything that you wanted to put on your wall with a magnet and then take it off. So it's got magnets mounted on each corner, so you can easily attach them or remove them. Now, another process improvement I made is I actually gave in and got my X-Acto knife out. I got this at the Dollar Tree, so it cost $1.25. And it worked a lot better than using that packing knife, or that box cutter. This worked a lot better, a lot easier, more precise. I just had to, get to my craft cupboard and take it out. Now, when you buy those from the Dollar Tree, it comes with little knives, but unfortunately, it doesn't give you any kind of a protector. So I have made a little protector out of cardboard, and when I store this, I just stick that point down in there, and then I've got a bag I can keep it in for safety. So all those little points, those extra points it came with, are all tucked down into that cardboard for extra safety. Now, I also redid my grid and made it a little darker. So that made it a lot easier to read and follow and to lay that out. And I learned that I have to be a little careful because when I was painting or whatever, sometimes I would get a little bit of white paint on the bottom of that tape. And then when I get all done and turn it over, I could see a little white dot, and that irritated me. So I learned to, as I go, I would pick up that tape and make sure I didn't have anything white and no paint or no crumbs or anything white on the back side of that tape. As I laid it down, I just always checked the back of that and made sure I didn't have any paint on my fingers while I was doing it. Made it a lot easier, and those go really fast. Now, if you want to make these yourself, let me know. I've got extra of this clear plastic to use. I've got extra of that paint striping, the pinstriping. So let me know. I'd be glad to send those to you, even that little grid I'd send to you. Or if you want me to make these windows for you, let me know. I'll do that for a small cost, a little bit of money for my time and my materials. Otherwise, thanks again to Sue and her husband who gave me this idea to use this pinstriping to replace those windows. I love our group that they share so widely and freely with their information. We all can learn so much and benefit from it. All right, thanks again for joining me. Talk to you later.